Welcome into the doors of psychic experience and star people. Thank you for tuning in. Ask and you will be given what you asked for. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. For everyone who asks receives. Anyone who seeks finds. If only you will knock, the door will open, and the truth within your higher self will be revealed to you. Come with us now and go with us where angels come and so can you.
Hello, welcome to our show, Psychic Experience. Thank you for tuning in. I'm the host, Reverend Doris Horvath. The show is being presented by the First Spiritualist Church in the City Heights area of San Diego. It's a church where angels come and so can you any Sunday. I am the pastor, and we have resident angels, myself, my assistant pastor, Reverend Marcella Jones, our president, Reverend Rosie Oberles, who's also a Reiki master, and our Reverend Margaret Adler, who's on vacation right now. We have a metaphysical spiritual show done once a month here at Cox Cable, and we have various different guests that we pick as to knowing how interesting they are, and that everyone out there can learn something from hearing them talk about their experiences. I would like to tell you about our present guest tonight. His name is Carlos Mendoza. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about him before we get into our talking together about what he does. Mr. Mendoza was born in Cuba and was raised in Florida, Virginia, and California, as his father was in the Navy and was often transferred to different duty stations, and he is the second eldest of 6 children. He holds a BA and MA in psychology from SDSU and the United States International University, respectively. Carlos did his master's thesis on out-of-the-body experiences. He's been involved in psychic phenomena, Eastern philosophy, metaphysics, and ufology for about 33 years now. He is a writer and is author of 3 books. The first one is Earth Refuges of the Aquarian Age. The second one is Rendezvous. The third one is Infinity Scream, and that one is online. Mr. Mendoza is the current director of the San Diego UFO Society. Mr. Mendoza recently retired from the County of San Diego after 12 years as a case manager working with psychiatric clients, and he has been a family and youth counselor in the Hispanic community and English as a second language instructor for the San Diego Community College District. So he and I are going to be talking a lot about his being the director now of the UFO Society in San Diego, and I'm going to ask him some questions that he has asked me to ask. I'm going to ask him some questions that I'd like to ask, so it's going to be fun. Well, is that okay with you? Would you like to say hello to the audience before we get started here?
Yeah. Hello. Good to be here.
Okay. The first one I'd like to ask you, because we did recently change the title of our TV show to Psychic Experience and Star People. You're wanting to know, and I am supposed to know, but maybe you can tell me more about this. What is meant by the star people?
Well, there's basically 2 essential philosophies, and one is that we're indigenous to this planet, we as human beings. But there's another perception that we come from the stars. This is going to be more about a human level, because in my research I discovered there's a lot of different people who feel a lot of different things regarding their origin. But star people basically are those who feel that they just don't come from Earth. They come from somewhere else, and they may be here because they perhaps incarnated from a different place, but they don't feel Earth is their home. They don't feel very comfortable here, but they understand there's a sense of mission. They're here to assist at a very crucial time in this planet's history and evolution. And then there's people who apparently have duty here, just like a U.S. A military personnel having duty in a different country. Well, they come from different areas of the universe, and they put in their duty here, their time here. So they're star people. And then there's some other kind where they feel that they've been sort of abandoned here and to fend for their own and on their own. And then a lot of them talk about a war that's been going on, and they say that this war has been written in our history books, especially our religions, but it's sort of been distorted by our terrestrial perceptions. And as a matter of fact, the idea of good and evil is about this war, and it's talked about in as far as Christians in the book of Revelation.
All right, well, that explains why I feel like I don't belong here. Thank you. My next one is, are UFOs real? And if so, why are they here?
We're learning, as the researchers get into this field, they're learning that it's that saying, the more we know, the more we don't know. It's much broader than we ever believed. It's much more vast than we ever believed. It's much more complicated than we ever believed. And the evidence is relative. It seems like the evidence really is more of a matter of a person's consciousness. Are they ready to embrace this incredible event? That there really are life forms out there who are here. It's not supposed to happen in our science. There's just no way scientifically, at least given our current scientific perceptions, that they belong here. So it's really hard for a lot of people to believe this, especially hardcore scientists. But there is a tremendous amount of evidence that they are here. And we're talking about scientists, we're talking about doctors, we're talking about a lot of people who have experienced incredible things. You cannot call these people crazy. We've tried. We cannot call these people irresponsible. They aren't. These are people from all walks of life, from all races, from all religions, from all occupations, from the housewife to the astrophysicist. They are real, and their presence is written in our history, especially our religions.
Okay, I agree with that. Now, are there good and evil aliens? There seems to be a lot of arguments about that.
As we define good and evil, good and evil is a relative term. Again, sometimes during the course of history, things we do are considered good, while you move into 100 years, and those very same things may be considered not so good, bad. We draw the line where, do they have our best intentions in mind? Some of them seem that they don't. There's a talk about a lot of grays, a lot of reptilians, a lot of races that just don't seem to care about us too much. There's a lot of evidence indicating, or a lot of talk or research indicating slavery. They go to a planet, they enslave the lesser beings, the lesser evolved beings. But it's been our experience, at least in my research, that most of these aliens do have our best interest in mind. They especially want us to keep from destroying the planet, damaging the planet irreparably, and they have different agendas to solve these problems that we keep creating. And they basically are saying, you guys, at some point, you're going to have to wake up. We can only help you so to a certain extent. You're going to have to wake up, be more conscious, and to a certain extent, we are waking up. Whether it's too late, no one knows yet.
All right, that's very interesting. Now, what do aliens have to do with God? Really, the same thing we have to do with God. They're really no different than we are.
As you get into the essence of what we are, you'll find out that aliens are in form, they're a spirit in form, in their relative time, doing their thing, their creative thing. It's the belief of many that we originate from infinity. Okay, we originate from this very same pool of energy, and that by choice we can create. We have that co-creative ability with what humans call God, and what they may call other things. The aliens may call it, refer to this higher being as the power, the universe. So it all depends. It's all relative to what those creative beings call their God. But there's a profound agreement, and there's an emanating agreement that there's a very higher being involved in all this, and we're essentially a part of that being, and that being has given us co-creative rights. So we have the choice of creating or destroying. It's in our hands. We're responsible for what we do.
A lot of people are arguing about, well, if there's a grand catastrophe, will the aliens save us?
Well, they won't. It's really more a matter of humans making the correct choices that will eventually allow them to continue in this environment, and as a race. And if we look at history, and not so much as traditional history, but more of the metaphysical history, more of the mystical history, we've seen that races have come and gone, and because they made certain choices, and the aliens were with them at that time. For example, Atlantis and Lemuria, they were doing fine. Things were going well. Apparently another race came in. They got into a power struggle. Okay, Atlantis took out Lemuria. Lemuria, the repercussions destroyed Atlantis. So the race contact was lost. The human race contact was lost with our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters. Now they've been attempting to restore it. So getting back to the original questions, it's not about them saving us. Again, it's about our making choices that will help us, in essence, save ourselves.
I'd like to know then, is our Earth ever going to experience real peace, true peace, as a human race?
Yes, I think so. I really believe in the different religions, and I really believe in their perceptions that there's a trial period before we see the more positive expressions of our creativity, and we're going to go through a period of difficulty. We are going through a period of difficulty. For a lot of people, they're experiencing their tribulation right now: hunger, famine, financial disaster, on and on and on, disease. But I think there'll be a period where it's going to get really bad. And again, I didn't invent this. I just basically researched it, and a lot of other researchers have researched it, and this is the conclusion, that things are going to get very difficult. But it's like growing pains. You get through the pain, and then you feel better. Okay, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to get through some things that we need to get through as a race, and then there's going to be a period where we're going to really see the fruits of all the difficulty that we had to experience. We're going to see the fruits of the good things. There's going to be harmony. There's going to be that peace that I think we all long for now, but we don't seem to be able to achieve at this point. And then there's going to be a lot of stability, harmony, and we're going to experience love at a whole different level. And a lot of extraterrestrial races already experience that now. They're experiencing that now, and they tell us, what we've done, you can do, because it's like heaven on earth. We're going to bring to your planet, help you come into that realization, and so that you can experience this beautiful thing.
All right, then what would you say that any of this has to do with the coming of 2012?
Well, I'm not sure, and no one seems to be sure. A lot of people are saying basically because the Mayan calendar ends on December 21st, 2012, that's the end of the world. And then there's a lot of other indicators indicating that we're going to have this kind of situation, catastrophe, and that kind of situation. It's another date, but in reality, we co-create the dates of anything. We're co-creating it daily, yearly, and by the decade and by the century. So, to be honest with you, it may be a significant date scientifically in some way. I'm not sure. People are talking about a polar shift. So I think the best thing to do is just whatever you're doing, love more, give more, be more patient, and then go deeper within yourself, because that's really where the true answers are. And it's when we go deeper and we find that and then we share it with each other, that's when we have true consciousness, moving into a greater kind of enlightenment. And that's what we're all trying to do.
I have my own theory about 2012, and whenever I tell it, people look sort of mad. I say, maybe the scribe that was doing the calendar work didn't train anyone how to take over his job. When he died, no one could do it. So there wasn't anything after that. Everybody looks really upset when I say that.
Well, people have been predicting the end of the world here and there forever, and so it's something that we just don't know, I don't think.
Well, I don't think the world's ever going to end myself. There'll just be new people living here, or aliens, or whatever here.
Yeah.
If so, all of this is coming about, what can people do to better prepare them for what is to come?
I think the answer is there already. Basically, all the great teachers have always told us one thing, essentially, and that is to love each other. And I think that is really what we're here for. We're to create. It's like I mentioned earlier. I think our origin, we have no origin. I think we live in a state, our ultimate essential state. I call it the will state, W-I-L-L, and that stands for wisdom, infinity, love, and light. That is our essential state. That is that is where we live. And when we choose to create, we lower the energy of the state and we create the astral worlds. Then we create from there the physical worlds. And then we create the bodies, the soul and the physical body, to live those worlds, because we're co-creating. And this is an extension of who we are. And so we don't have a beginning, we don't have an end. So we have everything. Really, we have everything. The only thing that we need to do is to love each other, because all we're doing is sharing that co-creative state. That's it. When we lose our physical body, we'll go back to the astral world. We'll be in the astral world. When we lose our astral body, we'll go back to the spiritual world. And we can go in and out of it all the time. It's just what we choose to do. But unfortunately, a lot of the religions have pretty much, instead of going by the spirit of the law, they've gone by the letter of the law, so it's kind of restricted a lot of perceptions of who we really are. And it's made it much more difficult to get in contact with who we are. But it's okay. It's okay. We are where we need to be at that particular time.
Okay. Are we, as a human race, are we going to be able to get through all of this?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think we're being assisted by a tremendous amount of extraterrestrial races, angels if you like. I mean, you can call them at the soul level angels, or the physical level extraterrestrials. They've been with us a long time. They've guided us. We have our spirit guides. We have a tremendous amount of help as a race, and a lot of them have lived lives as humans as well. So yeah, we're going to get through this. It's going to be a painful, growing experience, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to be. It's going to be even more beautiful, because we brought a lot more diversity of experience into the pool, into that energy pool. So yes, I'm very optimistic in the long run about the human race.
Some people seem to think that aliens are angels. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Again, it gets down to semantics, but they are what they are, independent of our observations or our labels of them. They exist. Now, the angels, extraterrestrials, to me, it's not so much what they are as to what their intent is. And if their intent is positive and noble and good, and they have our best interest at heart, then I don't really care what they call them. But I believe in them. I may not have seen one, an angel or an extraterrestrial, but I believe in their presence. Because I don't need to see anything, feel anything, touch anything. I don't need my physical senses to know there's a greater reality. I understand that I'm focused on this reality, as we all are, and that this reality is a beautiful reality. But at the same time, I haven't lost perspective of a greater reality and of our essential reality of what gives birth to this reality. So I think the key thing is that we keep our perspective.
I'd like to quote something that Dr. Stephen Greer said on Coast to Coast one night, and it was sort of funny. He said this. He said, "Angels don't need spaceships. Aliens do. Angels don't need spaceships."
Yeah.
They just appear wherever they're needed.
That's a good point.
Now, can you describe heaven? That's a big question.
Yes, I think, again, as I mentioned before, we exist in that will state that I mentioned: wisdom, infinity, love, and light. Those are the best terms I could describe this state. That is the essence of who we are, of what we are. And then we choose to co-create. We reduce this energy. We call it vibration. That vibration becomes what humans have referred to as the astral worlds. And then from the astral worlds, we reduce that vibration even further, and that becomes our physical universe, our physical world. Now, we can get into all those different worlds by choice. It's a co-creative thing. It's very important to know we define who we are. God does not define who we are. The only thing that this being, this great being, has ever asked from us is that we love each other. Because that's really all we have to offer each other, if you think about it. If we're infinite beings, we can't take material things with us into infinity, so the only thing we can take is what we come from, and that is love. Love is the glue that binds all of us together. But we have forgotten that one basic thing, that one basic guide. And because of that, things are difficult. So if we can do that, if we can just start loving each other more and more and more, and increasing that love, then I think we're going to see the transformation around us. And I really believe that's what's going to happen. It's a reality.
All right, what made you decide to become the director of the UFO Society in San Diego?
Well, actually they wanted someone else to be the director, but that person couldn't be the director, so I volunteered because the San Diego UFO Society has been around a long time, and I really wanted to see it to continue, so I volunteered to be the director until such time I can be replaced. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun having.
When do you have your meetings?
We have our meetings about every 2 to 3 months, and we invite all kinds of different speakers, and it's geared mainly to UFOs, extraterrestrials. We've had Dr. Lear. As you know, Dr. Lear is a doctor that removes implants from people. So we've had a lot of interesting guests. Barbara Lamb, just a lot of people, and it's very informative and very, very helping to a lot of people.
Yeah,
just like your show.
Very educational, enlightening. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on our show today. It's been a pleasure having you here. And I want to thank our TV show for getting together to do all of this today for psychic experience of star people. That's the direction that we're going into now. And as we end the show today, I'd like to say that I myself have had some experiences with aliens, And for some people, they could have been really frightened by what I experienced, but I don't want to talk about it on a TV show because people already think I'm strange enough as it is. But I have had my own experiences, so I really do believe in UFOs, and I really do believe in aliens, because I've met 2 of them myself, a short one and a tall one. But that's a long story.
And more people are encountering this, and they need
Yes.
answers, and that's because they're not labeled as crazy anymore.
Right.
A lot more documentaries are being done about extraterrestrial presence.
I really liked the one that was called Taken. That was good. So I guess it's time for us in this show. Don't forget, this is being presented by the First Baptist Church in City Heights. You can get the phone number at the end of our show very shortly as we count down in our credits. And I want to say God bless you. Thank you for watching. And please keep on watching and come see us at our church. God bless.